If you don't believe in conspiracy, then you shouldn't be looking at the Underground Railroad. The New World Order. Auction and Negro sales. $100. 40 years of Negro men Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Moon posting a flag and playing golf. There are three truths: the dreadful bitter truth, your truth, and the Clifton Bradley Underground Railroad's truth. We as the media, mission, and duty is to make you aware of what's happening.
I'm your host, Minister Tyrone Perry. Today's subject is going to be discussing the gender war between black men and women. Can it be solved? Our day's guest is Minister Ben Willis and Minister Salim Abdul Khalid. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing fine, thank you.
All right, let's get right into this. All right, my first question to you guys is this. What is the importance of marriage today? Salim, I'm gonna go with you first.
Well, the marriage is a very important institution. Unfortunately, in modern times, we've reached a point where a lot of people discount it. You have a lot of women that unfortunately feel proud of the fact that they are not married or they don't want to be married. You often hear a lot of men make disparaging remarks about marriage. And this is an unfortunate thing, because what happens is that when we don't have stable marriages in the black community, we're dealing with a situation where we have unstable family life. There's no father to discipline the children. There's not that extra income in order to, help pay the bills, et cetera, et cetera. And also we're left in a situation where a lot of these women are left unprotected. So we need to understand the importance of marriage.
Oh, okay. Minister Ben?
Well, seeing that this show is based on the gender wars for black male and women, first I must say this to the women. Don't go in a garbage can and look for a man, because that doesn't turn out too well. One of the things about marriage, you got to be able to want to marry, but also we have a problem in our community that there's women that don't want to marry, there's men that don't want to marry. Why? Because there's men that don't want to be with a woman.
That's right.
I'll give you an example. Birdman, he's a rapper with Cash Money, and so is Lil Wayne. They're out there kissing each other. Kissing each other in the mouth. Not once, a few times. I know somebody from New Orleans. I asked him, I say, is that what y'all do out here? They said, no, that's what them guys do. Lil Wayne has a child. He has children. There's people sleeping with these guys.
Yes. Yes.
Stevie J, he's a producer with Puff Daddy and them Bad Boys. He has a sex tape out with a man.
Wow.
He married Faith Evans. Birdman, they had a concert. Cash Money had a concert. And the rest of the group was calling women up on stage to dance. Birdman looked at some guys out there and he said, y'all come up here, because I'm into that. I like that. He was motioning to the guys to come up on stage. Tony Braxton goes with him.
Yeah.
Now these women know these dudes like men,
Right.
but they sleep with them.
Right.
It's okay with them. Look at Usher and Young Jock, the other rapper in Atlanta. They got their hair fixed up like somebody's auntie. And they're challenging each other who can have the cutest hairstyle. And a woman is suing Usher for giving her sexually transmitted disease. Let's go with this basketball player named Dwight Howard. Just last month, this transsexual came out and said, hey, I'm spilling the beans on you because you and your pastor did not pay me my hush money, and exposed Dwight Howard for having sex orgies with homosexuals. And he has 10 children with 5 different black women.
Right.
Now, it ain't just, these women know these guys are doing this, and they're still having sex with them. Marriage, they a long way from that. In fact, Atlanta, I call that the Sodom and Gomorrah, because that's where all of that stuff go to, modern day Sodom and Gomorrah.
All right, the next question. What is a real man and woman? I'm gonna hit you with that one, Mr. Ben.
Oh man.
Cause nowadays, you know, you got women out there calling about they want somebody real, and a lot of them is so fake.
Well, you know what? The woman, here's a woman. Here's women. They're like, I want a man that keeps it real. I want a guy with edge. They don't want no. I don't want no lame. I don't want no goofy. I want a thug. They want that thug passion, right? And see, they take him in, and then when she come home from work, he gonna take half her money because he want to flip the money. And then he gonna be out there with another woman. She gonna see that, he gonna come and choke her out, and she telling him that she's pregnant. So now she's gonna leave him, and she's gonna leave him, and he's gonna leave her for somebody else. She gonna have a baby, and then get up with another man, and leave that baby with the other man, and she's gonna go to work, and they're gonna call her on the phone and say, that baby's not breathing no more. And see, there's a disconnect on knowing what a real man and a real woman is. So those examples is to be, this is what not to be as a man and not to be as a woman.
Right. Minister Sling?
Well, I think it's really important that we as black people, as a community and as a race, understand the importance of reclassifying ourselves. When I say reclassify, we need to get into really understanding the definition of what a real man is all about. I've been posting on Facebook a lot about this because a lot of brothers actually have things all twisted up. Some years ago, when I was attending a mosque meeting, the imam gave a real good talk on the meaning of man and woman. And what he explained to us in the audience was that man means mind. Man means mind, and woman means womb of mind. That is, that every other man or human being that comes into the world comes in through the womb of another woman. Now, here's what we need to understand. Slavery made us nothing but beasts of burdens. They reduced the black man down to the level of an animal. And so as a result, today you got a lot of black men that's walking around that think that they are men based upon their muscles or how long their genitalia is, and that's not what makes a man. If it was based upon muscle, a gorilla would be more of a man than many of these brothers, and none of them would want to jump in the ring with a gorilla. If it was based upon genitalia, then we could look at a horse and come to the conclusion that a horse was more of a man than many of these brothers. So we have to reclassify and we have to redefine ourselves into understanding what a real man is. A real man is one that takes care of his obligations. A real man is a person that that does not make excuses for his weaknesses, but he goes inside of his internal self and develops himself morally and spiritually to the point that he's able to master and take self-control of himself. A real woman is one who takes care of her obligations to, her family, to herself, to her children, and begins to carry out her responsibilities and obligations. Under the definition that we receive here in the West, we've got things totally twisted. And so it becomes necessary that we tap into spiritual knowledge and wisdom so that we can begin to really understand what being a real man and a real woman is all about. And I'd also like to make a distinction between man and male and woman and female. There's a big difference.
Yes,
and we need to understand that. My last point on this is that when we were in the motherland before being kidnapped in slavery, our African ancestors had established what they call rites of passage. And the young person was taken out into the bush and you didn't see them for maybe 3 or 4 days. And What happened was when they got out in the bush, they went through the rites of passage, and when they came back, they were declared to be men.
Right.
You see?
Right.
We are, due to the fact that our names, our culture, our religion, and everything was destroyed in slavery, we have lost a lot of traditions that brought us into true manhood, and that accounts for why we're in the situation that we're in today.
Yeah, I think we need to bring that back, especially for a lot of these young guys out there.
That's right.
They lost on what it is being a true man, and when you don't have that foundation,
That's
it
right.
affects both male and female. They lose.
And you know that when the Jews conduct their bar mitzvah ritual, this is actually what they're doing.
Yeah.
A Jewish boy becomes a man at 14 years of age.
That's just rite of passage, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get to this next question. What caused the disunity between the man and the woman? Minister Salim, let me ask you.
Well, we have to understand that there's a conspiracy. There's a global or international conspiracy to keep the black man and woman divided against each other. It's being promoted in films. It's being promoted in music. When you open up magazines, it's being promoted in magazines. You know, everywhere that you turn, the division is being promoted between black men and women. You will hear some black women say things like, I don't need a man. Well, Brother Salim would ask the question, if you don't need a man, well then how did you get here?
Exactly.
You see, you couldn't have gotten here without the agency of a man making contact with the ovum of your mother who birthed you into this universe. You understand what I'm saying? Then you have, as Brother Minister Ben said a while ago, he brought up the homosexual movement and how it's causing a lot of our people to become totally twisted in terms of relating to each other, you know, in the correct natural manner as ordained by the laws of nature. You see? So there's actually as I said earlier, a conspiracy, and I don't shy away from it. There's a conspiracy being promoted to make us think that we don't need each other, and this is one of the reasons why the black community is in the present condition that it's in.
Hey, we got a call on call in. Caller, state your name and where you calling from and what you want to speak on.
My name is Robert Davis. I'm calling from the south side of Chicago. But listen, I just came in and caught the tail end of something, but it caught my attention. Are you all saying that there are a lot of gay entertainers in Atlanta that's involved in a lot of cover up about homosexuality?
Well, thanks for calling. It's not a cover up. In fact, they're out in the open with it now, and the women they're okay with it. You know, they're accepting that, and those are the wrong examples for young girls that are looking at these women and that idolize these women. They know that these guys are openly gay now. It used to be a man would play Batman and Robin in the daytime and Miss Kitty and Lois Lane at night. But now they just out there in the open. You know, now, you know, I'll try to take the high road, but I don't know the address. So this is what really is happening here. And it's a phenomenon. And it's something that we should look at because right now, in fact, Atlanta, like I said, is the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. The World Health Organization says Atlanta has the highest HIV, sexual transmitted disease than any third world country. And I don't know who says the Black Mecca because it's not the Black Mecca. You know, so thanks for that call. I really appreciate it.
Okay, caller, I hope you got answered your question good. All right. Brother Ben, with the disunity between us.
It started with me as the disunity. It started because by nature, it's God, Father, Mother, children. With the advent of welfare, that took the man out of the household. That kept him out the household.
That's right.
So that broke that family structure up. So now you empower the woman and the children to say, you don't need the husband, you don't need the father. And he's disjointed now like that. And that created that. And so it went from there to giving her a job and still having the father disjointed to where she gets to say, well, you know, I don't need a man. You know, I could do without a man.
That's right.
You know, like that. So that's where that disunity comes from.
Oh, okay. All right. How do y'all feel about does slavery and racism affect the relationship between black men and women?
Absolutely. A lot of problems and issues that we're facing in the black community can be directly related to what happened to our people on the slave plantation. A lot of people find that unbelievable, but you have certain scholars and psychiatrists or psychologists like Dr. Samila Abdullah, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who authored the book, The ISIS Papers, you know, who delve off into how a lot of things passed off into what some historians are saying our genetic memory. So when you look in the black community and you see promiscuity and a lot of teenage pregnancy and black people being against each other divisively, et cetera, a lot of that can be traced back to what the slave master put on us during the slave plantation day. A black woman wasn't allowed to have any a morality about herself because the slave master could break in on her at any time.
We got another caller. Caller, thanks for calling in. State your name and where you're from.
Yes, I'm from Chicago. There's a lot of discrepancies. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There's a lot of discrepancies about Sharia law, and I just wanted to ask, you know, your host, could he concisely define what Sharia law is?
We're not discussing that on this subject today. We're not discussing Sharia law. We're talking about the gender wars between black men and women. I appreciate your call, but at this present time, if you got a question concerning that, between the gender wars between black men and women, because we're not discussing that. All right, brothers, Minister Salim, you could
okay,
go
what
back
was
to
the question again?
slavery and racism, how it affect the relationship.
Yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate that, yes, we are still being affected by a lot of generational things that happen